As the NBA season nears, I decided to make some predictions for the upcoming season. I started by looking at team injuries and only focusing on the long-term injuries. If you're curious to know, I'm just scrolling through every team's injuries right now. From there, I projected what each team's record will be. Let's start in the East. I have the Bucks in first, winning 54 games. I think Giannis will still be enough for the Bucks to win games, even though Milwaukee lost some role players. And second, I have the Boston Celtics. I feel like this team could surprise some people. The last time, a couple years ago, when the Celtics were really injured, Brad Stevens brought that team to first place in the East, and I feel like second for them this year isn't that too far off. At third in the East, I have the Toronto Raptors with 45 wins. Lowry and Siakam are still enough to put the Raptors in a pretty high spot in the East since it's pretty weak. Fourth place, I have the Pacers with 45 wins, tying the Raptors, but losing in a tiebreaker, so they receive the fourth seed. Last year, the Pacers were able to maintain a competitive team once Victor Oladipo went down. Oladipo will be out to start the year, but with the addition of Malcolm Brogdon, I feel like he can step in and provide the same role as Oladipo had last year. In fifth place is the Philadelphia 76ers with 43 wins. The downfall of this team is they don't really have any depth at the guard position. This didn't affect them in the regular season, but I believe it could in the postseason. In sixth place, I also gave the Miami Heat 43 wins. Jimmy Butler is going to help the Heat, but I don't think it will be as big an impact as people expect it to be. In seventh, I have the Orlando Magic with 42 wins. Orlando has a lot of fun and interesting scenarios to watch this year. Can Markelle Fultz finally live up to the hype? How good is Aaron Gordon actually? He is a player that I really like and believe is underrated, but the Magic are hard to figure out. At 8th, I have the Detroit Pistons with 40 wins, 42 losses. This is a team that on paper should be one of the most dominant in the league. With Griffin and Drummond, two of the most dominant big men in history, the problem for them seems to be that their style of play is outdated in the current NBA. Next, I have the Brooklyn Nets with 39 wins. Last year, Kyrie Irving seemed to care more about himself than the team. That could be detrimental to the Nets this year as he is their only star. Next, I have the Atlanta Hawks. They're a young up-and-coming team. They're almost there, but they're not there yet. Next, I have the Cleveland Cavaliers. Kevin Love is a better player than most people give him credit for. Being healthy this year will help out Cleveland a little bit, but there's still not enough talent around him for them to do anything. Next, I have the Charlotte Hornets. Terry Rozier will surprise people as a starter. He could be a borderline all-star this year. Next, I have the Chicago Bulls. This team is still not there yet. In 14th are the Washington Wizards with 31 wins. After John Wall went down last year, the Wizards did not play well. He is also missing a large portion of the start of this year, making the Wizards' chances not look so good this year. And rounding out the East, I have the New York Knicks. The only good thing I can say about the Knicks is I think RJ Barrett will be amazing. He can easily be the best player in this draft class. If the Knicks can keep him, they have their next franchise player. That's my prediction for the Eastern Conference. Let's move on to the West. First place, I have the Denver Nuggets. Jokic is clearly the leader of this team, and he is going to have another good season. In second place, I have the Los Angeles Clippers. With the addition of Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, it drastically improved the Clippers team. I have not seen a lot of people bring up this point, but Clippers also have Patrick Beverley. Those three players could be the best front court defense we have ever seen. In third place, I have the Houston Rockets. Harden and Westbrook are going to be an interesting combination. Both their styles of play means they need to have the ball. I am excited to see how this works out, but because of their talent, it won't hurt them in the regular season. In fourth place, I got the Utah Jazz. Utah made a lot of changes in the offseason. This will help them win a couple more games, in my opinion. In fifth place, I have the Golden State Warriors. Steph Curry is going to have another MVP-like season. This is going to help the Warriors stay near the top of the Western Conference this year. In sixth place, I have the Portland Trailblazers. Portland lost some depth, which will hurt their team, but with Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum, they probably have the best healthy guard combo in the league. In seventh place, I have the Sacramento Kings at 41-41. The Kings are another fun team to watch, but I can't tell what direction the front office is trying to go in, so this leads me to give them a 500 record. In eighth place, I have the New Orleans Pelicans. This is another good young team, but without Zion, they're going to struggle, and Zion's not going to be as good as people think he is in his rookie season. Gonna be good, but not great. In ninth place, I have the Los Angeles Lakers. This team is going to be a disappointment. After LeBron James and Anthony Davis, they have no depth. Next, I have the San Antonio Spurs. I don't think they can repeat what they did last year. In 11th place, I have the Minnesota Timberwolves. I said that quiet because this team has disappointed me for years. A team I thought would be good with Cat and Anthony Wiggins has amounted to nothing. In 12th place, I have the Oklahoma City Thunder. They decide to blow up the team this year, and teams don't do well when they decide to do that. Next, I have the Dallas Mavericks. This team looks like it should be better, but when you put in the fact that Porzingis usually gets injured, I don't have my hopes up for this team. Next are the Memphis Grizzlies. John Morant will have a big impact on this team, but no other players will. Rounding out the Western Conference are the Phoenix Suns with 21 wins. I don't know if this team will ever be good. The young players they receive aren't good enough. Suns will yet again be the worst team in the league. They need to find a way to bring stars to Phoenix. Now let's take a stab at the playoffs. In the East, I have the Bucks beating the Pistons, the Celtics beating the Magic, the Heat beating the Raptors, and the Pacers beating the 76ers. In the second round, the Pacers beating the Bucks, I have the Heat beating the Celtics, and I have the Pacers representing the East in the finals. In the West, I have the Nuggets beating the Pelicans, sweeping them in fact. I have the Clippers beating the Kings, I have the Trailblazers beating the Rockets, and I have the Jazz beating the Warriors in round 1. In the second round, I have the Nuggets beating the Jazz, the Trailblazers beating the Clippers, to make a conference final of Nuggets and Trailblazers, a rematch of one of the best playoff series of last year. And I think the Nuggets get their revenge in Game 7 of that series, making the finals Denver versus Indiana. My prediction for NBA champion this year is the Denver Nuggets. Now let's move to a subject that's really important, the awards. For MVP, I have Nikola Jokic. He will be the best player on the best team. This is not always the case, but he'll do enough to win it. For Rookie of the Year, I have Zion Williamson. This race will be closer than people think, but Zion will pretty much run away with it. For Defensive Player of the Year, I have Rudy Gobert. He won it last year. I don't think things will change. For Most Improved, I have Jaylen Brown. This is one of the hardest awards to predict, but I feel Jaylen Brown will have a huge leap this year. And for Sixth Man, I have Lou Williams. Williams is always one of the best Sixth Man, and I don't know why that changed this year. Let me know what you think of my predictions. I doubt my predictions will be anywhere close to the real thing. I will probably look pretty stupid in about a month.